All right, we are officially going to get started. Good morning, everybody. Welcome, and thank you for being flexible. And we had a last minute, I guess not so much last minute, because we figured out we had a problem going on Sunday night and figured out what to do on Monday morning. But after I sent out my newsletter saying that we were supposed to talk about the Wellness Center today, my two social workers were like, hey, Jenny, we actually have a meeting at that time on Thursday and are not available to be with you at the Zoom with the principal. And so that seemed silly to talk about the Wellness Center without them. So when we return from break, we actually will do our Wellness Center topic. But it actually worked out nicely because I was talking to my fellow administrator, Ms. Pereira, Monday morning, and it seemed like a good time to actually talk about the different tests that we offer, both our statewide tests and the national tests, and give you and explain to you how all of this works, because I know parents always have questions about this. So what's going to happen, I'm going to stop sharing my screen in a second. Actually, I will stop sharing right now. And what's going to happen is Ms. Pereira has a presentation that I don't think is terribly long. But hopefully some of your questions will be answered in the course of the presentation. But then also we will make sure that we answer all of the questions that you put in the chat. So Ms. Pereira, you have the floor. I also just want to warn everybody, I am super tired today. I don't know what's going on here. So if I yawn, it is not the topic. It is not you. I apologize. I think I'm just very much ready for having a week off and getting more sleep. But just wanted to give everybody a warning. All right, Ms. Pereira, you're up.
Good morning. I'm Ms. Pereira. I oversee testing, so that is why I'm here presenting to you this morning. Oh gosh, and I haven't presented through Zoom in a minute, so now I realize that I have to use the mouse pad. All right, good to know. All right, so the first test we're going to talk about is the ELPAC, and that is actually used for students that that when they enroll in schools in California or in the United States, they actually put that they speak another language at home. So what that does is that flags the school to test them to actually measure their English proficiency is really what it's for. So that's the initial test. So some of you may have already experienced that when you started your students in kindergarten or maybe in middle school, or if you were going through a private school system, some of your children may have already been experiencing the ELPAC testing this year. The second part of that, so once the student is designated as an English language learner, they haven't really showed fluency or proficiency yet. They do have to take the summative test every year until they actually reach that proficiency level. And again, this is a federal mandated test. It's not something that Eastside does or just California. It is through the federal system. So that test, again, is to use to measure English proficiency. And then the students are actually reclassified as being, we say redesignated is the words we use, as being proficient. So we'll have like a redesignation code, and it's just, again, to measure their proficiency. So, the test is, our testing window is from February through May. We usually do ours in February. So for the summative test, the initial test happens in the summer or right in the first 6 weeks of school if they did not. Sometimes we have families joining us and throughout the year. So it happens pretty immediate when those students are new to us, to our school system. Then we would start that initial test, and then the summative test, again, measuring progress, is in February. Okay, so not all students need to take this test. All right, Ms. Davis, you're going to monitor. We'll do the questions after.
Yeah, let's hit all the questions after.
Okay, so this is the this is the test that I always change. This is my 25th year in education, I think. So we've gone through different names of this test and different types of tests. So sometimes I call it made up things, so I apologize for that. But this is the official name. It's the CAASPP. Sometimes it's referred to as the SBAC, and that's the state testing. So this actually happens in many places. if students are in kindergarten, it's multiple grades that it happens in. In high school, it's the 11th grade. So again, this is to monitor students' progress throughout their education system. And again, this is also a federally mandated test, although we use it through the California assessment is the name of it. This is actually attached to the mandated testing through the federal system. So again, measuring what students have learned, and parts of this test is important for the 11th graders because it does measure how ready they are for college level work. So like so part of that test is used, and I'll speak about that a little bit later, but it is to ensure that once students leave high school, that they are college and career ready. That's the important piece. And that's why our students really care about that test, to be honest. Okay. So these are they are tested in English language arts, math, and science. So students traditionally, it looked a little different the last 2 years because of the shelter in place and the pandemic, but students are tested in grades 3rd through 8th. And then the 11th grade, they'll take the computer adaptive test, English and math, and science also in the spring. Okay. So for us, well, I think I have the dates coming up in a minute. But again, it's used to measure whether or not students are ready for college and career. The colleges may use the results for placement for their math and English classes, and that's especially true for the CSUs. At this time, the SBAC is not used to determine college admissions. The CSUs are not completely decided yet what they want to do about college admissions as far as looking at our freshman class, our current freshmen. They may use these results as part of their testing for college acceptance. But currently that is not the case. For the current 12th graders and the 11th graders, that is not the case. Okay. And again, it's administered to all juniors in the spring. Our testing for this is the week of April 4th through April 8th. Okay. This one's going to be a fun one. I can't wait. So the advanced placement tests, these are AP exams, are standardized exams designed to measure how well students have mastered the content in a specific AP course. So it is a end of year exam for the AP courses. That is what it's designed to do. So that is not state mandated. That is all choosing by you and your students, your child. So students can earn college credit if they score well enough on the exam, and they may select to submit their AP scores with their college application. They do not have to, that is their choice. So they are not automatically sent to colleges. Students actually have to, through the College Board, select where they would like those scores to be sent. Okay, so it is not a must, it is a selection. So we actually are going to start the registration for AP exams as soon as we get back from the break, October 5th through November 8th. And the exams happen on May 2nd through May 13th. And right now it seems to be that they will be happening on site. Last year we had a mixed bag of things, but we're all in person. So it looks to be that we will be having the exams in person as well. So someone had asked about how much does it cost. The exam fee is $87. And if students qualify for a fee waiver, it's $5, again, per exam. So students must, this is a problem. So if your child is in AP classes, the way they actually register for the test is through this AP class. Well, there's two parts. So they have to register here through us, and there's a form and they submit it to the bank. And then that lets me know that they have paid and they want to take the test. But the actual part of enrolling they have to be in this AP classroom. And that's where I order the tests from. And it's an interface that AP has set up. And students have already been given these codes. Regardless if they take the test or not, they should be in this AP classroom because it's attached to their teacher's class. So there might be quizzes or just study guides or just different resources for the students to use. And in some cases, the teachers use that as part of the curriculum, maybe for practice tests or different things. This will be the third year that we've used this AP classroom. And every year there are several students who have paid for their exam, but they have not enrolled properly into the AP classrooms.
So one thing, let me cut in, Nancy, one thing parents can do to help us out, when you talk to your kid today and if they are enrolled in an AP class, ask them if they are registered for the AP classroom, see if they know what that is. And if they've done it, have them show you, because that will help us out a lot, because this is a problem where kids like don't get the message that they have to do this extra step.
Yeah. And it should have already been done, but you know, there's always at least, I'd say 15 that I'm tracking down. So it becomes a thing. And we order the exams in November. So that's pretty important. Let me see here. All right. So the SAT, I'm very excited about this conversation. So historically, the SAT has been an entrance exam used by most colleges and universities to make admissions decisions. However, this has changed, especially post last year, like it's changed. So to be clear, for the class of 22 and 23, the SAT is not required for CSUs and for UCs, it's indefinitely for now, right? That's what I would say. So, so this has been a challenge because this is changing information. Last year, especially, it was changing quite often. And again, so the CSUs have only said for the current 12th graders and the current 11th graders that the SAT is not required. For our current sophomores and freshmen, they have not completely said what they're going to do. CSUs. UCs is saying no SAT. There has been talk about there possibly being the UC would have their own exam, but there has not been, there hasn't been any further news than that. So it is indefinite for the UCs. Okay. So again, UCs have suspended using the SAT for college admissions. The only purpose for the SAT is as a placement. So as a placement test almost. So basically where the students have scored, that allows them to see where their English and math placement could be once they start college. AP scores can also be used for student placement for English and math courses as well. So this is for the UC, okay? So the only function we're using it for at our school is because we know that it is used as a placement and we see the value in that for students. And that is why the seniors will be taking the SAT in a few weeks, actually. Like I said, right when we get back, 2 weeks, October 13th, okay? So the CSUs are kind of making us a little frustrated because we just want answers, and our counselors have been going to trainings for the last 2 weeks. And so the definite answer for the next 2 years is that they are not using the SAT. So for CSUs, okay. Alrighty. So on October 13th, the 12th graders they have the opportunity to take the SAT. I asked them to register with me already, and we're actually turning the registration off tomorrow. So if the registration is, are you taking this test? Yes. Do you want to take this test? Yes or no? And so the no's haven't filled it out. It's mostly the yeses who have been telling me, yes, I want to take the test. And so that is on site here. It's a regular school day. And we have about, I haven't looked in the last 3 days, but it was about 200 students who have so far wanted to take the test. For the 11th grade, it's the same thing. We're offering it March 3rd. And the essay is not part of either of the tests. Okay. All right. So I guess my takeaway, or what I want you to understand at the end of this presentation, is we have some federal mandates that we must do for testing, and that was the CAASPP or the SBAC, and the ELPAC for students who English is not their primary language and they have not yet mastered proficiency, and for different reasons, right? And tests can be used for multiple measures for placement in college level courses. So the multiple measures for being placed in college level courses include these. Doesn't have to be all of them, but the more the student has, the better, right? So of course, their transcripts, looking at their coursework and their transcripts. If students took an AP exam, their scores in those AP exams is also can be used to place them in appropriate levels in colleges. The CAASPP is only used, or the SBAC is only used for CSUs as placement. And the SAT is used for both CSU and UCs for placement for English and math as well. Hope that made sense. This evening, we will have our 12th grade parent information night at 6:30. I included the Zoom link because they will go through, again, the application process as part of their presentation, as well as financial aid. So if you are a 12th grade parent, I highly encourage you to attend this evening. It is through Zoom. So I have the link there, and it was also in the newsletter over the weekend. Okay, so questions and answers.
All right, let's go through the questions. And one person put in a question that, can we share this slideshow? Yes, when I send out the recording of this meeting, I will also include the slideshow. So then that Zoom link, you could just click on it and that'll be very convenient. I absolutely will do that today. All right, so first question, do we offer AP tests for only the course we have at Piedmont Hills High School? Can anyone take the AP test, or does a student have to take the AP class for that subject?
So two parts. We only offer the test for the classes that we offer. That has to do more with how large of our AP program is, because there are tests that are happening simultaneously. So as an example, there could be an English test happening the same day as, let's say, a German test. Well, we have 150 kids testing in English. So just for manpower alone, I mean, that's the real reason that we only offer the exams for the classes that we offer here at the school. The second part of that question, can students really self-study, is what is being asked, and then test. And that also has to do with space. So we do have students who self-study, and they are able to register. Some of the exams, some of the subjects, if they're not in the course, tend to fill up. So it becomes very difficult for that self-study option. And that tends to be mostly in our languages class, our world languages class, as well as, trying to think, that's actually the hardest one, is the world languages, as long as there's space. And yeah, our students don't normally self-study for English, but I guess if they wanted to, that's probably okay.
One thing I would say, I mean, it is allowed. I would honestly caution against self-study. AP tests are designed to be an end of the course exam, meaning that the student has been in the course all year. Like, they are designed with the intention that the student has been taking that class all year. It is really difficult to self-study, especially in a subject area. Usually when you see self-study, it's usually like the world languages, because they're already fluent in that language. And so maybe they can do fine. Like taking like AP chemistry just on a whim, it's not an easy thing to do. And I honestly would caution against it, because also AP tests are expensive, and it just doesn't seem worth it. Our next question, I think we addressed this, but what are the ELPAC and SBAC, where to take those tests? So like we said, the ELPAC is for our English learner students. Just to give you like an idea, that's under 10% of our population. Most students will not take the ELPAC. We do not have special like schedules for the ELPAC. Students have to take it, we pull them out of class. So if your student is designated an English learner, like first off, you'll get some information, like if your student falls under this category, and then we would pull them out to take the test, but that will happen in February, and you'll get some information about that. Most of you probably don't have to worry about that. One thing I would say about the SBAC, when your kids were in, obviously a couple past years, they haven't taken it because of the pandemic. Well, one year we didn't do the SBAC because of the pandemic. Last year we did. They take it, like Nancy was saying, it's actually 3rd through 8th grade. They take it every year. In high school, they only take it their junior year. And we tend to use the word CAASPP and SBAC interchangeably. CAASPP, like what those terms mean, it's like all of the testing. It's like the umbrella of testing for the state of California. SBAC is the specific English language arts and math test that they take their junior year. So that's the specific name of the test, but we tend to use those terms interchangeably. For that, there will be that week that Nancy said, it's the first week of April 4th through 8th. We will have a special schedule that week. So if your child is a junior, they will be coming to school and taking the test. Our freshmen, sophomore, and seniors will all have a late start that week. So just be aware, it's the April 4th through 8th, there will be a special schedule for testing. If a student doesn't like an AP test score, can they decide not to report or use on the record? Yes. Yeah. Yes, they can. And then what was the price for each AP test? It's $87. Or if you qualify for free and reduced lunch, it's $5, which is one of the reasons that even though nobody is paying for lunch this year, the state of California is paying for the food, and food is free for all the kids. We still asked families to fill out the free and reduced lunch form. That's why, because if you qualify for free and reduced, you get $5. The tests are $5. If you guys think that you might qualify and you didn't turn in that form, they're on the district website, but if you have a hard time finding it, email me and I will send you the link.
You know, I don't know how I skipped this slide, but I saw a question in the chat. The private schools and the SAT, you really should, for your students who are applying this year for private schools, they really should check out their SAT requirements. I did a generic search and I found that most of them are putting optional, but you still have to check because the private schools they're private. They're all part of their own system. So they are very individual. So my recommendation is just check it out per school and be very aware of what the SAT requirement is because it can vary. But it does say optional. They do say you can add the SAT score. You can send it. For those but it's not considered. Some of the schools like Stanford say it's not considered for determining acceptance as an example, but they say you can turn it in, submit it as optional. So I would just highly recommend that you go through the SAT requirements for each of the private schools because they will vary.
Yes, definitely the trend in higher education seems to be that we are moving away from the SAT and the ACT. I know there's a question here about the ACT, and we tend to only talk about the SAT because that's more popular in California. The ACT is not as popular of a test for kids to take, but the rules that applies to both of them. Yeah. For self-study student, is there a form to fill out when signing up for the AP exam? If yes, do they have to turn in the form and paying for the exam in the school bank? Nancy, do you want to go over that process?
Yeah, so what will happen is there's one registration form and I will email it to everybody and I'll post it on the school website. Currently it has the old one on there. So each registration form has all the classes listed and then there's a self-study code for each of that class. So like it'll be like English, and then it'll say self-study English. So the students just select that. It's the same form. They would go to the bank, submit the form, and pay at that time. And then they get a special code for me to join the AP classroom for those self-study exams because they still need to be in that AP classroom. And if they're doing self-study, they're not in a class. Therefore, they're not enrolled in that AP classroom.
If a student wants to submit an AP art portfolio, how to do it, when to contact the art teacher and Ms. Pereira, when to pay, does a student need to roll in the independent study class, which counts for one period in the school year in order to submit an AP art portfolio?
Yeah, if a student is doing an AP art portfolio, traditionally they're in our art classes and then they would still register at the same time because the deadlines are set up by the College Board. So the process is exactly the same. And they would have to work with their art teacher to do the portfolio, like to have the portfolio, the pieces together, there's certain requirements and all that. So they would have to work closely with their teacher.
So if a student is not in an art class and they were thinking they wanted to self-study, they still need to connect with the art teacher because part of the art portfolio, they submit like their physical works, but then part of it, there's like this online portion where like a teacher has to do something, they have to connect with the teacher for the AP art portfolio. So if they were thinking they want to self-study, they need to get on that right away. Okay. If a student does self-study for a regular subject, for example, chemistry or math analysis, what is the approach to take AP Chem and AP Calculus in the 10th grade? I do not recommend this. I absolutely do not recommend that a student self-study for AP Chemistry or AP Calculus when they are in regular chemistry or math analysis. I recommend that next year they take the class AP Chemistry and AP Calculus, and they register and take those classes and take the tests at the end of the course. There is absolutely no reason to take these AP tests on their own in the 10th grade. They have 2 more years to actually take the class, and they should take the AP test then. For seniors, if you sign up for AP exams and later decide not to take them, will it negatively affect your college application? No, because you don't actually put your AP scores on your college application, if I'm remembering correctly. Like you do the AP scores, like turning in the AP scores to the colleges, that actually happens after the acceptance process. Yeah. They see on the transcript that the student has taken an AP course, but turning in the AP scores, you do that to get the college credit. Like,
and they don't get their score. I mean, unless they've tested as a sophomore and junior, but if they're testing most of their things in senior year, it's kind of spread out, but they don't have the scores to send. I think sometimes they self-report them on applications.
Yeah, I think they can, but honestly, you don't have to. It doesn't. No, it won't.
Yeah.
Negatively affect them. Yes, again, I will send the slides. Absolutely. Can the students see their AP scores in Infinite Campus? No, their AP scores are not in Infinite Campus. A student, this is part of registering for AP, they have a College Board account. And that's when they, like we were talking about, they have to register for the AP classroom. Every student will have a College Board account, and that's where they see their AP scores. In the parent SAT letter, it said you could choose to submit test scores as part of your application. They may be used as an alternative method for fulfilling minimum requirements of eligibility over the course placement after you enroll. Does this mean students can put their SAT scores when they're filling out their online UC application? I heard last year there's no place to put in SAT scores in the UC application forms. Have they changed that?
So again, so the SAT scores are going to be used for placement once they select their classes.
So what that means, let me clarify that, because it's not placement in the college. It's not about acceptance. It's once they've been accepted, like they've been accepted to
UC Berkeley.
UC Berkeley, any of them. And then determining what level, like can they opt out? Do they have to take remedial English? Do they have to take remedial math? What level of English or math can they go into their freshman year in college? That's what the SAT score is used for. But also their AP scores are used for that. So if they took AP Calculus or AP English Lang or AP Lit, those scores, and they pass the test, those scores are also used. So they don't necessarily need the SAT. It's just one thing that's used. Okay. So like I said, I mean, I know this is super confusing. The colleges are not making it easy with the SAT because we're in this like weird transition phase right now with the SAT, but the trend is, and there's a lot of problems with the SAT. I mean, it's kind of historically known to be a biased test. Students that tend to be white and from affluent areas historically have done better. I mean, it is not a great test. And that's why there is this national trend to not use it anymore. So there's just a lot of problems with the SAT. And again, the ACT, like everything we say about the SAT, you can apply that to the ACT too.
Yeah. There's a question about the CAASPP in junior year so do students practice the CAASPP in junior year before they take the official test? It's really measuring what the students have learned thus far in high school. So like every day is preparing for the test, I guess is the best way to answer that. There are practice questions that I think are released on the State of California California, but really everything that our students are doing in classes in preparation, it's just grade level assessments. So
will private universities still require the SAT and ACT? Check with the check. You know, the thing about private universities is they're private. They each do their individual thing. So a specific university that you're looking for, check. But again, the trend is it seems like they are not requiring it, but definitely check.
You have to check, yeah.
For seniors not taking the school October SAT, can they still go to school and go to classes as usual? Yes, we are not doing a special schedule on the 13th of October. That's a collaboration day. So, because it's a Wednesday. So we will do our normal collaboration day schedule, and kids that are testing, we are going to pull out and have them test and excuse them from their classes. So everybody else is going to go to school like normal. There is not going to be a special schedule on that day. How do students like juniors sign up for the SAT testing this year? Is it done via the student's email or in person on campus? So it's probably going to be the same way you've done it for the seniors, right? Nancy, did you send like an opt-in, like we sent a form to the seniors? So we'll do the same thing with the juniors, because again, this is optional. Like there's, you know, you may, if your kid is looking that they're going to junior college and, you know, you're not going to apply to a four-year school. I mean, I would question like even applying with four-year schools, is the SAT even necessary this year? That's going to be a decision between your student and your family and like what you want to do. So we'll send out a form that yes, they want to opt in, and that's how we'll find out. But for the juniors, we wouldn't do that until probably February.
Yeah. Someone asked, how do they check for private colleges? You actually just go on their webpage and they'll have their admissions process per each school. You would have to check.
So here's a question that does not have to do with testing, but is an important question, so I want to address it. Can students leave the school at lunchtime? May they go home if enough time? Absolutely not. No, they may not. We are a closed campus. Students are not allowed to leave at lunch. That is board policy. No schools in Eastside have an open campus, closed campus. If you want them to go home, you have to come and sign them out.
Yeah. And I'm the one that's supervising that little area. So tell them to stop leaving.
Yeah.
I have to be out in the sun, guys. Someone was asking about AP test scores and pass rate, like pass scores. That's usually discussed in the classroom, what a passing score is for an AP class. So the 3 and higher is the pass to get the college credit. So those are the conversations that teachers have with students in class. Yeah, we don't.
You're jumping around the questions. I'm going in order.
Oh, I'm sorry. Just go where my eyes are.
So if a private school says the test is optional, isn't it better for the students to take the test so they're not at a disadvantage compared to other students, applicants? So it's really optional required. Again, like, I don't know. I mean, we're in a transition period. I mean, definitely some people believe that like, oh, you should still take it. We're offering it, and it's that's a personal decision. We just tell you what they're officially saying, but if you know, I can't tell you.
Yeah, it's vague.
It is vague.
It says optional, so optional should be optional, but people are using it, I think, for enhancements in their application.
If a student self-studies and takes an AP test, does it count towards his high school GPA? No, AP test scores never count towards the GPA. They're totally separate. I think we addressed this, practicing the CAASPP in the junior year where they take the official test. Yes, their English and math classes, like what the content they're learning in high school prepares them for the test. But that's what it tests. If a student does self-study for chemistry, math analysis in the 9th grade, what is the process to take AP Chem and calculus? So are you like, I'm assuming you're asking to take the course, like when they sign up for their classes, they can request that. We don't allow sophomores to take AP chemistry. They have to take chemistry their sophomore year. Like that's just, they have to. AP chemistry is an option for them to enroll in their junior and senior year. They can take AP calculus their 10th grade if they are currently in math analysis as a freshman.
Yeah.
How do we check? Do you have something to say about that?
I was just going to say calculus is one of those exams that actually fill up. So because we have so many sections of it, so that might be a harder one to self-study. I mean, they probably wouldn't get a spot anyway, if that matters.
Yeah, I honestly, I can't tell you. I'm going to say again, I don't recommend it. Don't do it.
Yeah.
There's no reason to. How do we check with private colleges for SAT, ACT? Do we contact the admissions department and look on their website? That's the best way. And actually, I think in the counseling presentation tonight, Nancy, are they going over Naviance and like using that as a tool to look at colleges?
I don't recall that being on there.
Okay. We actually probably should do a thing about Naviance at some point, but you can look on their website. If you know what the Naviance login is, you can use that to help, navigate in getting to their website. For students who need to take ELPAC, does the school require them to take an ELD classes if Piedmont has the course? We don't offer ELD classes at Piedmont Hills. Students that are, newly in the country and their language is not English, they usually go to Independence, not Piedmont Hills, because that's where they offer the ELD classes. That's just the way Eastside works. Students that are designated as an English learner oftentimes are going to be in a sheltered class, especially for English 1 and English 2. So we do tend to place them in the best classes, but we at Piedmont Hills, we don't offer ELD classes. Are all students in AP classes aware that they need to score a certain number in order for the AP class to be accepted by the university? Some students may not be aware of this and think that just because they take the class and take the test, no matter what their score is, that it counts as college credit. I am pretty sure students are aware of that. I am a former AP teacher. I taught AP European History and AP Government. And I promise you, I never had a student that wasn't aware that they needed to score a certain way. Usually students are super aware of that. Can kids take AP Music Theory exam this year? No, that's one of the ones that we don't offer that one. And so we don't offer that test at Piedmont Hills. That would be somewhere, and I honestly don't know of any schools in Eastside that offer AP Music Theory. Sometimes if you are looking for a specific test, you can call around to different schools. The College Board will actually tell you and give you the contact information of schools that offer particular tests, and you can contact that school and see if they would let you test there. But again, it depends on, do they have the manpower, with proctors and that sort of thing, and the space available. If they will let a non-student take a test there, but that is sometimes an option. How is the score of SBAC used from the 11th grade? So it's used by the school to judge how well we're doing as a school. So like kind of like holistically as a school, how well are we doing? Are we doing what we are supposed to be doing? And then for the student themselves, it's used as, again, that college readiness. So again, like we said, the SAT is used, the SBAC is used for that also. And are they college ready? So it's another one of those readiness indicators. That's really the only way that it's used for the students. It's that college readiness stuff. What AP classes are available to 10th graders? Where do we find this info? Course catalog. As we get closer to the scheduling for next year, which will be something that we address in January, we'll talk more about this. But generally, AP World History is available to 10th graders. And then AP Principles of Computer Science is also a typical 10th grade class. And then on the math, it just depends on their level. Like, are they, so AP Calculus, or Calculus AB is what comes after math analysis. So math is very like, what course are you in? Like, it's the next course in the sequence. But that's pretty much it, unless maybe AP Spanish language, if they are currently in our Spanish Heritage Speaker class, AP Spanish is the next level. There are no AP art classes at Piedmont. So which art class should a student do in order to submit an AP art portfolio? We don't ever have enough students to offer an AP, like the AP Studio Art 2D or something like that, or drawing and painting, to offer a standalone class. We don't ever have enough signups. That doesn't mean they can't do it. So basically what we do is we code them as an advanced art student, and we stick them in any art class. And so the teacher just knows that they may have 28 kids that are taking Art 1, and they've got one kid in there that is an advanced art studio, and they're doing kind of self-study within the class, and they're working on something different. So they just need to talk to the art teachers. The art teachers will know exactly what to do. And it's not uncommon. We have probably a dozen students that do that.
Yeah.
In terms of test content, what's the difference between AP English Lang and AP English Lit? AP English Lang is a writing class. It focuses on the different types of writing. It is not a literature-based course. So it's based on language and, like, you know, how you convey language in different ways. AP English Literature is a literature-based course. So there's a lot, I mean, there's writing in both of them, but, you know, AP English Lang is focused on the different types of writing, whereas AP English Lit is focused on literature, and the writing in the Lit class is going to be based like on like literature analysis. Yes, there is a rumor that the UC will develop new tests to replace the SAT test. That is true. Yes, that is the rumor. That's what they're saying. I don't know. I don't have a date on that. Certainly, if your child is a senior or junior, they don't have to worry about that. Even I would say sophomore, they probably aren't going to be ready for that. Maybe freshman, but we'll see. I mean, they haven't really said anything. So the SBAC score is only for students to see if they're ready for college. So this college, yes, the college actually does use the score. And so maybe we're not being clear about that. So when we're saying, like, so a kid gets accepted to college, let's say they're going to San Jose State, and they're set to go to San Jose State. And San Jose State looks to see, all right, are they ready to go into our freshman level English class or our freshman level math class? They will look at a variety of scores that the student has to determine if they're ready. They'll look at their grade in their actual English and math class. So that will be the transcript. They would look at the SBAC scores and see if they were ready that, and they can look at the SAT. They could look at their AP scores. So a student may hit all three, that they've got A's in all those classes, or they did well on the SAT, they did well on the SBAC, and they took AP classes and they're good. Some students, maybe they have a couple of those. So it just kind of depends, but those are all measures that the colleges use to determine if they're ready for those freshman level classes. Does our school offer, sorry, my chat is jumping around. Does our school offer AP world language classes or students self-study? Yes, we offer AP Spanish, we offer AP French, we offer AP Chinese. Those are the three that we offer. Got a private question, is math analysis available in summer school? We usually do offer it in summer school, but no promises. We don't know what our summer school offerings are going to be yet. We won't know that this spring. For a 10th grader taking AP Principles of Computer Science, does this count as an elective class? Yes, that is an elective class. So the meeting tonight is for 12th graders. It's about
college apps, financial aid, that type of stuff.
Yeah, so it's not a meeting about AP. We actually will have a meeting for AP. Usually we do that in January, February. It's about the time where kids register for classes for next year. That's when we have our AP informational meeting. So we do offer that, but that's later in the year, not now. the students should be aware of all of these AP and SAT test information. The counselors give this information in every single presentation that they do. So it's kind of information that we constantly repeat. Students tend to not always hear us the first time. And so we just constantly give them this information.
And the counselors are meeting with 12th graders today as we speak, and they've been doing college presentations all month already, and this stuff has been happening. So yeah. And also when I sent out the letters, I also shared about the SAT information in the letters, and the emails I sent out, I also sent them to parents. So the information's been out there and multiple times, so that's the good news.
Yeah. So SAT, ACT is not required for 2021 to 23. Then what's the basis for college admission? Their transcript, what they do in high school is honestly, which in colleges will tell you that was always the basis. The SAT was never the sole thing that they looked at. It was one thing in a number of factors, but there's more of an emphasis now on their transcript and how well they're doing in high school. What other extracurricular opportunities do they take advantage of? That's actually really important for college acceptance. Like they shouldn't only be doing school. They want a well-rounded student. So, do they do athletics? Are they involved in different clubs? That sort of thing.
Volunteer work.
Can a student take 2 electives in their 10th grade? Usually not. The 10th grade is the most crowded year. So because we add in the social studies, that's when world history comes in, and they're still taking their science, and they're still taking world language, and they're still in PE. So sometimes they can take 2 electives in their 10th grade year, but typically they're in one, and it's usually the world language. And that's considered an elective, and that I don't even know if that's like a world language. It's really when they get into their junior and senior year that they start taking all the electives. When is the latest time to send the college application? What are the problems to avoid and be aware of troubles? I would recommend you go to the parent night tonight, because the parent night tonight is really about the college application process and that Zoom. The college applications, it depends. Usually it's anywhere. Typically the range is from Thanksgiving to New Year's Day is typically like that time frame is the college application time frame. And I would say, just from experience, problems to be aware of and avoid troubles, just you and your student need to be super organized about this. If they, have a spreadsheet of like all of the deadlines, do they need recommendation letters? When do they need to have that in? Do they have teachers that write recommendation letters? They usually want a resume. So do they have their resume ready to go to give the teacher of everything that they've done in high school so that they can write a good recommendation letter? But again, the counselors, that's primarily the focus of the meeting tonight. So definitely attend that. If a student self-studies and take an AP world language test already, can they still take the specific language to fulfill the language credit? So they can take the AP world language test, sure, but that does not give them the A through G requirements. To get the A through G requirements to fulfill the language requirements of the 2-year minimum for 4 years, but 3-year recommended for most of them, they actually have to take the class. So just keep that in mind. They do actually have to take the class. We've hit the end of the questions. I know this is a lot of information. And again, it's information that we give out frequently because it's easy to miss stuff on the first time. So there will be times that, this was kind of intended to just be an overview of all of the different tests. We will have times that we talk specifically AP. And, because I know the AP is something that we get a lot of questions about, and it's a really big thing. So spring is when most of the tests happen, actually except for the SAT in October for the seniors, all the other tests happen in the spring. Yeah, 11th grade parents can attend the Zoom tonight. Just keep in mind that information for the colleges can change year to year. So there might be information that's presented that is true for this year and for seniors that are applying for college right now in this year that may not be true for next year. So you just have to keep that in mind, which is why we tend to say, okay, if you're in the 12th grade, please attend. But, you know, it's kind of, if you want a little preview of like all of that, sure, you can absolutely attend, but just keep in mind that information may change. Yeah. Nancy, do you have any final parting words?
And I was going to say, I think they usually post their presentations online as well. So if parents can't make it, the information is still available as well. Yeah.
Will a student have to get approval from a counselor to take an AP class? Yes and no. Yes, they talk to the counselor to sign up for their classes. Like that's how they sign up for their classes in the spring. And again, it will be like around February. They will have, each student will have a one-on-one meeting with their counselor about signing up for their classes. So that's how they sign up for the classes. The counselor does not approve it. We have open enrollment for AP. Any student can take any AP class they want to, as long as like they're in the proper sequence. So somebody that just took Math 2 can't jump directly into Calculus AB. That's what I mean by sequence. Like you have to have like taken the prerequisite courses. So you guys are welcome. We do not have a Zoom with principal next week because there's no school next week and I will be getting that sleep that I'm lacking. So no meeting next week. When we come back, that's when we're going to talk about the Wellness Center. So I am excited to talk to you guys and share with you about everything that we're doing with the Wellness Center. SBAC scores are not on the transcript. They are sent directly to the colleges. So you guys don't have to do that. The district does it. You don't have to worry about that. All right, great. Thank you so much, everybody.
All right, thank you very much, Jenny.
You're
and
very
Nancy.
welcome. You are very welcome.
Thank you.